So I confronted Silas yesterday about some of the signs he's been taking down. He got caught red-handed, but he's not willing to admit the truth, which is pathetic to say the least.
Yeah, agreed.
I spoke to. I'm fairly confident about the results at this stage. But anything can happen, right?
That's the thing. It's just with the way it's structured, it's hard to read.
Yeah, it is. There's always a possibility that the farming for votes could go a long way. So I think I don't know how much time we got left before the polls close. Could be an hour, could be 2, could be all day. So I'm gonna keep the gas down until the polls officially close.
Yeah.
But I know I've been going sort of back and forth as to whether we need to reevaluate LSPD High Command. And I'm still sort of stuck at a crossroad. There needs to be better at this stage, and better defined as more available. And I think that's the biggest challenge that's being faced right now is I don't think that the current high command has everything is in shambles. Like PETA's being gone for a month, Daisy being rarely available, and Sky being leaned on to make decisions in shifts she is not in. And there being no realization of the disconnect. It's unhealthy for each and every officer. And in turn, it's dramatically unhealthy for the rest of the city.
Yeah.
And the challenge is that they haven't really fulfilled many of their promises. Have they done an okay job? I would say so. But there is such a desperate need. I mean, Trig, I was hoping was going to fill the gap, but the guy's got a tumor right now.
Yeah.
Right?
He was another name on my list.
Yeah. It's, I also have the feeling he's not very interested.
Yeah, I could see that. It'd be a good pick, but you gotta want it.
I think an audit needs to be done to evaluate how the current department individually feel, but then also get a feeling from the everyday citizen what their thoughts are.
Why don't we conduct that audit and then revisit the county committee idea, the hearings, remember?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've given them like a little bit too much leeway, to be honest. I think for me, the biggest thing that struck me was PETA's wanted to chat with me at the end of one evening. It was sometime last week. And in the midst of that, another officer came up and goes, "Oh, you're not at the high command meeting?" And apparently it was like, there was another like side meeting happening with PETA's not even being present.
Yeah.
So there's like this odd dichotomy of like indecisiveness, which is bad for us. It's bad for people. It's bad for the cops. They don't know, can they do this or can they not do this? They're not getting communication. And it's just leading to disasters. Yesterday, there was a bank robbery, and with Ray Romanoff, apparently the cops mag dumped them as soon as they got in the vehicle.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And the problem is I wanted to see if I was like cooked or not. I spoke to Judge Maury, and he had the same opinion. Like, what the fuck can we do with that? That might be above our fucking pay grade type shit.
Yeah.
But it's like I couldn't even go to anybody. Who the fuck do I talk to? And my problem is that I don't like think anything would be done, because Moss and Peters have proven to us that they are not willing to hold their cops accountable.
Yeah.
To the extent that this whole thing with Frost taking 2 months ultimately makes me feel bad for Frost.
Mm-hmm.
And there can be a million different reasons why that might be the case, but they've really dropped the ball the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? I think they've given up, and they're just not willing to say it.
Hate to interject. I'm gonna pass out any chance you have a bite.
Yeah, I got you. Give me a sec.
That's where my thought goes immediately, though, Nino, is that number one, if they're not around to be a part of decision making, the PD aren't getting consistency, and if they're not willing to make the hard decisions and pull the metaphorical trigger to hold their officers accountable,
yeah,
the PD's just gonna run wild. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because it's sort of like it's like that's exactly it, right?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, again, you know, this is where my mind's been since you told me to put this at the front of my mind, start thinking about it. And it's really, really hard not to look at someone like Maxwell. And I get where you're coming from with the, is she ready for it? But she's here. And she strikes me as someone who can uphold some level of accountability with those below her. So
the thing is, though, go ahead.
I was going to say, whether she's ready for chief or, you know, ask chief, I'd have a hard time not making that recommendation.
Yeah. But the thing is, the challenge with Maxwell is that you're removing somebody that is the only member of PNT right now.
Right. That's the other side of it.
There's nobody. They're not growing people up. They're not training folks. It's just all talk.
Yeah.
There is a collective give up amongst the PD in general.
Yeah.
Right?
This reminds me of something I said to Finley. You remember I had that chat with her, and she was really hopeful for a cabinet position a long time ago. And I said to her, you know, 5 months ago, we were neck deep in the shit that is the DOJ. We didn't have time to put emphasis and effort into planning events as a mayoral cabinet. And I said, frankly speaking, you were doing exactly what we needed you to do, not as a cabinet member, you know, just as a citizen, as an event planner. You were doing good for the city. It strikes me as that, where you pull Maxwell into high command, and then what happens to everything that was previously under her oversight?
There's just no structure there.
That's it. That's
the issue, is that the structure has not been filled out at all, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a little concerning to me that I don't know. There's I don't know. It's I think we need to think about it strongly, and I think we need to do the audits and then reapproach this. But that's what happened over the weekend, right? Regardless of whether the police were in the right or the wrong, they're just not available, right?
Yeah.
And they can tell me whatever. I've felt they haven't been available for a minute. December was, in my opinion, the turning point when Peters understandably wasn't around for like a month, right?
Yeah.
And there was no delegation by Moss to spread the load, right? And for a lot of things, I feel like I need to poke to have things turn, and that was just bad.
Yeah.
The whole, I don't know, like Peter's getting sort of outcasted from my perspective is also equally concerning. I think Peters as a chief, no, I think he's too hot-headed.
Yeah.
Right? He also doesn't know how to delegate. But then again, he's, I think, also been getting mixed messages, right? And that's a problem. The problem starts at the top. I mean, look, I don't want to take away all the good that they've done, but I think the baton does need to be passed at this stage.
Yeah.
I just, there's just not enough commitment.
Well, and I'm going to tack on to that. It sounds, and based on what I've seen, it sounds like the inter-officer accountability kind of ends at onboarding. You train them, you onboard them, and then you kind of wipe your hands clean of them, and that's why we're not seeing
2 months to get rid of someone that potentially fucked their biggest case. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's just too, I don't know, like, what the deal is. I don't. I see it a mile away. They go after the easy targets, to look like they're holding hard, right? Peters, right? Carmine, Bobby, it's just, but anyone that does, like, that they're afraid to lose, they're just, all the baby gloves come out. You know what I mean? You can't maintain order with that. You just can't. This is not a PD thing.
You gain no momentum doing that, though. You gain no progress. It's just high peaks and low valleys rather than gradual progress forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. This sounds like a multifaceted issue. I think there definitely is a grassroots issue. I think
there is a inherent belief in the police department, and they've given up this fight, that the PD should not be held accountable to its citizens.
Yeah.
And that needs to be flipped, to be honest.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think also Ming Jintai, this is another problem, was shot down because someone said they were getting shot at, and they killed him without a gun out. And then they decided to press the charges anyways, even though I witnessed them say that they didn't think they should have. So there's also this like weird fucking irrational fear that they need to be pressing charges. And I sat there and I'm like, what am I witnessing right now? That's literally wrong. It's not you're not acting in good faith if you don't believe someone is guilty.
Yeah.
So what's happening? So just structurally, it's in a really bad spot.
Yeah. But I mean, what do you do when they've been allowed to get away with so much for so long?
But it's not only are they getting away with it, they're not training their cops.
Right.
Yeah, where is the training that was said? Like, a lot of these core things were never done.
Yeah.
And the problem too is, like, I sort of expect that the position requires a level of accountability that if you're going to do something, you do it. And if you can't, you have to bring up why it's not occurring. But I think everyone is on there's such a let's just get by mode, and that's not good. And look, they're not the only ones, right? Let's be honest, right? At the end of the day, Pred ain't around either. Reddish did bow down and to his department ultimately, right? The DOJ is entirely missing again, right?
Yeah.
Where are they? The leadership is disconnected. And when leadership is disconnected and is not present, the people lose faith.
Yeah, agreed. We know that firsthand. We know that.
Yeah.
I had finished your chat with Silvio yesterday, and then I had a chat with Quantum afterwards. Silvio's good. I like this guy, but he went on to tell me there's a couple mall cops that are, I don't want to call it malicious, but they're kind of trying to undermine Quentin. And I had a chat with him, and I said, Quentin, you're a good time, right? But at the end of the day, you can't let people walk all over you. So when people are actively undermining your authority, you need to stand up for yourself.
Quantum's got to be changed.
Yeah. Well, trust me, I had a very stern talk with him
Yeah.
yesterday.
I like him, but he's not going to be responsible enough for the position.
You might be right. I think he was under the impression that this was going to be like a comedy show. You know what I mean? And I think I at least had a good talk with him to kind of set him straight that you need to strike a balance. You need to be doing patrols. You need to be using your radios.
I think he already lost his opportunity.
So?
Yeah. I don't think he knows how to strike a balance, and he lies. That's a problem. And he was literally on duty saying he wasn't on duty. That is going to get everyone fucked.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. I don't think he understands what he's risking is the issue. So I think he would be a better ass chief, but we need someone that can keep everyone in line, because the moment there's an incident and they're lying and doing shit like that, everyone's going to get screwed over it.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. Well, I think that's the beauty of Carmine and his role is that he understands that balance, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I've been held hostage more than enough times where Carmine was the cop who showed up first, and when Carmine wants to turn it on, he could turn it on. You know what I mean?
Right. I cannot be I can't take on the stress of Quantum lying to police officers and doing things he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was just randomly bringing in DOC. He wasn't prepared for yesterday. There's a lot of it's just he's not the guy. Like, brother, there was way too much DOC there. You can't just bring your friends. Like, we can't screw DOC, Scotty, etc. over this mall. And like it literally was a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad yesterday.
I wasn't there.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And there was no like it was literally like I had to be concerned with them a good portion of the time.
Yeah.
And there is going to need to be like a minimum amount of responsibility over the mall security. Like, I don't know what kind of toolings they're going to get, but like, some of them come across, I don't know. It's just, I think he kind of burnt that bridge yesterday. I think we can put him in like maybe as an ass chief or like an ass or something, but like he just kept digging the hole like deeper. There was no way to self-correct it. So
I wasn't there, so I can't comment one way or another on his effectiveness. It's just a shame that he wasn't there for the first one to kind of see the standard that Carmine had set running point. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Silvio, though, I can't speak anything but highly about him. The guy was very candid, very open, very honest. I like the guy.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
What's the plan today?
The alternative here is that, I don't know. Let's go votes, I think.
Till polls close.
Yeah, we'll and then let me cook a little and let's reconvene. I gotta like collect my thoughts a bit.
I'm gonna head to Senior Buns.
All right.
Basically, let the traffic come to me and shuttle people over.
Sounds good.
How's the new car?
I love it.
Yeah.
I used to own the only one in the city a long time ago.
Oh,
so,
shit.
Gives me some memories.
You swapped the engine yet or what?
I'm not a big fan of it. Can just be I don't like the idea that I have to be concerned over my cars. So
yeah. No, I hear you. That's why I haven't done it.
No decisions yet. If I'll like, I think an audit is at minimum needed.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think we start there. But
do you want to dust off those committee panel hearings legislation? Okay, I'll dust that off, and then I have that you remember you wanted that list of things we want. I've got that all cleaned up for you. I'll send it.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Chief Architect was talking about that to me. Okay. I told him I need a day or two. You know what I mean?
Easy. I'll kick it your way.
All right.
Cheers.
For context, it doesn't mean Nino's actually gonna change Moss and Peters, but Nino is certainly very, like, I don't make half-assed decisions on Nino, you know? The thing is, there's like a serious concern. There's a massive problem, but he's not going to do like a two-head decision like, yo, just make Maxwell chief. Let's just go fire them. Because, like, the thing is, you'll have some artists that think in that way, right? That you can just put someone else in place and everything's good. But that's why, you know, hey.